Tua Tagovailoa isn't known for stirring controversy. He's the kind of quarterback who usually lets his play do the talking. Steady, professional, polished. But recently, when he publicly called out some of his Miami Dolphins teammates for showing up late to players-only meetings, that calm exterior cracked just a little. And that's important, because when the quarterback, the heartbeat of a franchise, has to sound the alarm over something as basic as respect for time, it's not just a locker room issue, it's a cultural one. People think punctuality is small, but in professional sports, it's the first indicator of who's all in and who's just showing up for the paycheck. This isn't just about being late, it's about showing how much you actually care. So here's what went down. After the Dolphins' recent stretch of inconsistent performances, reporters asked Tua what he thought could be improved internally. He didn't throw anyone under the bus. He didn't blame coaches. Instead, he mentioned something subtle but revealing: players being late to players-only meetings. Now, those meetings are supposed to be sacred. No coaches, no cameras, just players talking accountability, chemistry, and problem solving. For your quarterback to point out lateness there, it's rare, because those meetings exist to show you don't need outside authority to be disciplined. Tua explained that it was concerning that some teammates didn't take the time commitment seriously, not in an angry way, but in a "we need to fix this now" way. He emphasized professionalism, ownership, and pride. Think about it. When the team's leader has to mention punctuality, it's not about the clock, it's about trust. The message behind the message: some Dolphins are treating leadership as optional, not essential. And in a business where every second literally counts, that mindset can be the difference between a playoff run and another wasted season. Here's why Tua's comment hits deeper than it looks. In professional sports, what separates average teams from great ones isn't talent, it's alignment. That's what players-only meetings are supposed to enforce. They're where you air the frustrations, reset expectations, and recommit to the mission. It's the one environment where veterans hold rookies accountable and stars admit mistakes. When players show up late to that, it signals disconnection. It shows not everyone feels the same urgency to win. Think about it from a business standpoint. Every successful organization has internal meetings that run on trust, the kind where no bosses are present, just peers trying to make the product better. That's what these sessions are in football. And just like in business, the teams that obsess over details thrive when pressure hits. The Patriots back in their dynasty years were famous for it. Tom Brady didn't just demand perfect passes, he demanded perfect preparation. Same story with the Chiefs today. Nobody misses a Mahomes huddle, not even by a second, because punctuality equals commitment, and commitment equals chemistry. So when Dolphins players stroll into those private meetings a few minutes late, what they're really signaling is detachment, that they're not investing the same emotional energy as their leader. And that lack of alignment creates invisible cracks in the structure, the kind you don't see until the scoreboard shows it. Those cracks show up in missed routes, miscommunications, and dropped third downs. Every lack of discipline off the field turns into a mistake on it. What Tua's saying between the lines is this: passion has a timestamp. You either show up on time or you show you're not ready to build something lasting. Now, this situation gets more interesting when you think about head coach Mike McDaniel's approach. McDaniel's entire coaching philosophy is built on creativity, connection, and communication. He's one of those rare coaches who understands that players buy into culture long before they buy into schemes. Under him, Miami rebuilt not just its offense but its identity. Fast, fun, high-scoring, player-led. But here's the catch. Player-led only works when the players actually lead. McDaniel has said he wants veterans like Tua to own the locker room. In theory, that's empowering. In practice, it could expose fractures. If some players aren't respecting team-only meetings, it suggests McDaniel's trust the players model might be hitting a wall. It's like a startup where the CEO stops checking daily progress reports because he trusts his team to self-regulate. When everyone's aligned, it's beautiful. When they're not, chaos creeps in quietly. The Dolphins have enough talent to beat anyone in the league. Their offense has arguably the fastest weapons in football. Their defense is stacked with athleticism, and their coach is one of the sharpest minds in the game. But culture doesn't run itself. McDaniel's vision pushes freedom, but freedom without accountability becomes fragility. So when your quarterback has to step in and publicly restore structure, it signals the soft side of a team that may be starting to wobble under expectations. The Dolphins don't need more speed, they need more synchronization. That brings us to Tua himself. Because publicly calling this out, that's a bold move. It's not dramatic, it's strategic. Tua isn't someone who thrives on confrontation. His demeanor has always been about humility and quiet reliability. But that's also been his biggest criticism. People often mistake calm for passive. This moment proves otherwise. For the first time, he's using his voice not to defend himself, but to elevate the team's standard. From a leadership perspective, that's growth. Remember, last season was about proving he could stay healthy and efficient. This season, it's about proving he can lead an entire organization. His willingness to challenge teammates, even subtly, is a kind of leadership move that defines locker room hierarchies. You don't need to scream to set a tone. You just need to care enough to speak up when things feel off. And when the message is coming from the same quarterback who risked his career through multiple concussions and came back hungrier, it lands hard. He's earned that voice. From an economic angle, this matters too. Leadership equals marketability. When your QB embodies culture, sponsors, fans, and front offices all notice. It influences the Dolphins' brand value, media narratives, and even extension negotiations. Look at Patrick Mahomes. His influence extends well beyond stats because he keeps the standard in every facet, from meetings to film sessions. If Tua can turn this punctuality frustration into a renewed standard, that's not just leadership growth, it's long-term franchise equity. In pro sports, the gap between good and great is rarely about raw talent. It's about who's most invested, emotionally and mentally. Tua's message was simple but powerful. Being late isn't about minutes lost, it's about meaning lost. You're either chasing excellence with urgency, or you're comfortable being average. And for a team built on flash, that wake-up call might just be what defines their season. Late arrivals sound minor, but in professional sports, they're symptoms of something deeper. Think about it. When a few players show up late to a players-only meeting, it's not about lost minutes, it's about lost momentum. Football locker rooms run on rhythm, every detail. Film sessions, rehab, warm-ups, walkthroughs follows a shared tempo. When someone breaks that rhythm, it disorients everyone else. These aren't college kids anymore. They're million-dollar assets in a billion-dollar league. The smallest fluctuations create trust issues that ripple right onto the field. Tardiness creates tiny fractures in locker room hierarchy. Veterans start wondering who's locked in. Coaches question internal accountability, and younger players either mimic the behavior or silently lose respect for it. Those little attitude leaks turn into execution gaps. A receiver can't be a fraction late on a route. A lineman can't be half a second slow reading a blitz. Precision starts off the field before it ever shows up on the scoreboard. And from a business perspective, lateness equals lost money. Every small act that undermines focus affects performance, and performance drives revenue. Star players showing up late don't just risk locker room tension, they risk branding consistency and team reputation. Fans invest emotionally in teams that look disciplined, unified, and urgent. That perception dictates ticket sales, merchandise spikes, and even primetime scheduling opportunities. So when Tua sounds this internal alarm, he's doing what a CEO would do in a startup, protecting culture before complacency eats it alive. Because in business or football, culture decay doesn't start with failure, it starts with excuses. The Dolphins, trying to move from potential contender to proven powerhouse, can't afford little cracks. Every successful organization treats discipline as non-negotiable, and for teams gunning for playoff visibility, minor lapses like this often become first chapters of decline narratives. It's not harsh, it's reality. Talent buys opportunity, but discipline pays it off. Predictably, once Tua's quote hit social media, reactions split in half. Half the media spun it as leadership, an emerging veteran holding teammates accountable. The other half painted it as unnecessary drama, implying that Tua might be overreacting. Fans were just as divided. Some said, finally a quarterback speaking truth. Others argued, it's just a few minutes, big deal. But that's the problem with optics. From the outside, being late feels harmless. From the inside, it's foundational. If Tua had let it slide, silence would have signaled acceptance. By speaking up, he exposed an uncomfortable truth. Winning organizations look disciplined even when nobody's watching. Media outlets love to magnify controversy, but real pros know the power of little standards. Being on time isn't petty, it's predictive. You can chart a team's success by the consistency of its habits long before kickoff. Fans often underestimate how culture shapes performance metrics. Teams that take themselves seriously, punctuality, preparation, peer pressure, don't fold when adversity hits. So while pundits debate mountain or molehill, it's both. Minor details build mountains of excellence when handled right, and molehills of chaos when ignored. What looks small today could define Miami's narrative by season's end. Here's where Tua's leadership test really begins. He's not calling for punishment, he's calling for pride. Accountability is contagious, especially when it comes from your quarterback. This moment gives the Dolphins a choice. Tighten discipline now, or watch small cracks widen under playoff pressure. Once that culture breaks, you can't buy it back with marketing slogans or talent additions. Real leaders know that urgency has to live in the locker room before it ever shows up under stadium lights. The key challenge ahead is translating awareness into action. Will teammates start setting alarms earlier, showing urgency at every meeting? Or will they shrug it off as a media overblow? Great franchises react to wake-up calls instantly. Think of when the Chiefs' offense sputtered mid-season a few years back. Patrick Mahomes gathered the skill players, reviewed film, fixed timing, and immediately realigned habits. That internal correction saved their season. Miami has the same chance right now. Fix the micro details before they become macro consequences. Because punctuality isn't about minutes, it's about mindset. When a team commits to being early, it signals hunger. When they stroll in late, it signals comfort. And comfort is the enemy of growth. Tua's message cuts deeper than football. It's about respect for time, talent, and one another. Every business leader, athlete, or entrepreneur watching can relate. Showing up on time is showing you care. As the Dolphins move toward another potential playoff run, it's not their playbook that will define them, it's their pulse. You can't fake urgency for 4 quarters. You either live it or you lose it. Tua just reminded the league that passion doesn't just play on Sundays, it shows up early to every meeting, ready to work.